So, last time you guys made it through this pretty rough fight. You continued this pursuit, both Indigo and Lara, around and through the water of this isle, making it back to the house before she decided to show her again. And she began lighting you up, quite literally, with some lightning bolt spells, and taking you guys down pretty quickly on your HP before disappearing again into the interior of the house, in which Sephel, Laboda, and Stool were still kind of just getting over the last of the battles with the basilisk. And as you guys had made a commotion outside, both Stool and Laboda kind of made their way to the entrance, and Lara, you had kind of created a hole for Indigo to make their way into the house, where Sephel found themselves face to face with the hag, Miss Maven Delve, and started getting very quickly destroyed by her claws and her magics as they tried to kind of fruitlessly tip over the bubbling cauldron. And it all eventually culminated in you all finally taking her down. And as Sephel laid upon the ground, barely recovered with the help of a good berry from Stool, finds himself staring upon the hag's skull and dragging themselves over to it, pulling back their tentacles, biting in with their beak, and then latching on. And as they do, Sephel, a series of things start to appear in your mind. You see images of these horrible, twisted figures, almost as shadows, kind of in the background, all of various sizes and shape. One of them appears very tall with these long arms. Another is quite petite and hunchbacked with a long, what looks like staff, and another with these great big swirling horns coming off their head, and another in a kind of odd-shaped gown, you would presume, and these shadowy figures stay within as you see these various images of, you see what looks like yourself looking down upon different creatures as they stand paralyzed before you. And then you watch as what you feel like is your basilisk glare coming to your side and staring upon these paralyzed figures with your arm outstretched, and they slowly begin to turn to stone, and you feel yourself cackling, and you realize you're experiencing Maven Delve's memories, things that she has done, and you're seeing glimpse after glimpse after glimpse after glimpse after glimpse, one after the other, of all these different scenes, and they all match up to various statues that you have seen outside of her hovel. And each time she warmly welcomes these different figures, some of which, though, immediately attack her, even in her guise as a maiden with this horrible tragedy that she's been afflicted with, and her paralyzing them with a particular spell. And you find yourself shifting into that information more. What's this spell? What's this thing that she loved using so much? And for Indigo, Lara, as you peek around the door, Stool, and Laboda, who is truly disgusted at this sight, you see the back of Sephel's cephalopod-like head start glowing, and you see what looks like and I talked about this briefly with Brendan before. If you guys have seen Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when he's staring into it, you see all the lights and kind of what look like synapses and stars kind of going off in the back of their head. You're seeing a kind of similar vision beneath their kind of purplish gray skin, and it's kind of just undulating and moving along with their tentacles that still kind of cling to the head. And Sephel, you realize that this spell is Hold Person. Mm-hmm. And that has now been officially entrenched within your mind. You know it, you have it, you can call upon it. And Loboda, as we kind of step away from inside Sephel's head, is actually kind of stepping away, just this horrified look. And Sephel, your eyes kind of open back up and come back into focus here, and you see the others around you. You still find yourself latched to this skull. But what do you guys do? What's happening?
Do I have, so my eyes flicker back. Do I have control of this situation? I know this was like a lapse. You had me do a save for this.
Mm-hmm. You do feel like your control, this compulsion you had to consume her brain, has now ceased.
Okay. He kind of takes in what's happening, and he, after another moment, unlatches himself. Paper, and he like goes. He's looking for his things. He looks like he's gone from one to another insanity, and he dives into his bag and he rips out his spellbook and he's flipping through pages to get to this empty scrap. It's not even like a full piece of paper, it's just a shred. And he whips out his quill and he and his ink, and he's like furiously and manically just writing these symbols down that, like, as they have appeared to him, trying not to forget them, until there's just like this inky, bloody just mess on one of the pages. And as soon as he is done, like as soon as it's down, as soon as he has it, he vomits all over the floor.
Yeah. Yep. Loboda watching that, and then kind of like, you guys can see it too as you look back at the hag's body. You can see their, like, the top of their skull has been picked clean, and it is fully hollow within. And Loboda herself just is like, and she quickly runs from the room and out of sight. But you do hear wrenching from somewhere in the nearby.
Lara is staring at the skull, and when Sephel gets up and starts scribbling on everything, she's gonna look at Indigo like, what the fuck?
Wow, that was really gross.
Yes, it was. Sephel?
Yes.
What a reaction!
He's like wiping this like gross mess of ichor and probably a couple like small chunks from his beak, like out of his tentacles,
covered in blood there. Yeah.
I would like to summon my blade and point it at Sephel.
Yeah, you do so.
Sephel, are you with us?
I'm fine. It was a temporary lapse. I apologize. He's like trying to... He seems like he's holding back vomiting more. Like he seems utterly disgusted.
You feel something small hit you in the side of the face, and you like look down in your lap and you see that it's a berry, and beside you Stool is just like there with like a handful of them, and it's just like, don't do it again, please. And like as you go to say something, he chucks another one. Don't.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, I guess now that is the first time I've ever seen Sephel eat anything, so maybe you should try to keep that down so it'll last, I don't know, for the next eternity or so.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I can't actually do what you did where like everything came up because I don't work that way, but I wish I could.
I didn't know I could.
Indigo, what does your god say about eating brains?
Toro has a very strong I don't know, that wasn't like in the teachings. That's not like a thing we cover in Sunday school.
flash to like Toral up in the heavens or whatever, and she's just like, "Oh hell no, son, no, not the brains, no."
Sephel is going to. Are the berries that Stool is throwing at me? Are they more good berries?
Yes,
Okay.
there's 2 more that sit in your lap, so theoretically you could heal yourself 2 more HP.
Yeah, he's just gonna eat them.
Sephel, I think that you should sit, and then we need to talk, and you're not going to move.
Sephel is going to pick himself up off the floor, but he is going to immediately sit on the side of the bed. And he's going to look at Lara with like a mix of like there is genuine shame and disgust with what he did, but there's also a certain level of annoyance behind his face. And as he sits, he's going to look at Lara. Yes, finally, Sephel did something that you can finally pin all of your presuppositions on. Let's not pretend any of us are innocent. We're walking around with a narcotic mushroom. You made a deal with the Prince of Hell. And how is Indigo still so happy through this? None of us are
I don't
normal.
necessarily have a beat problem right now, Sephel.
I apologize for my lapse in judgments, but do not speak to me like the only monster here. And he's going to settle, and he's going to, while he is slowly trying to recover, to try to ground himself, he is going to pull out some of the magic things that he had gathered from Delve's chest. He's going to say, I am going to take some time and process and look into these because it is what I know. If you would like to
Sephel.
get some gold, there is some in that chest.
I don't think we're interested in the gold, but I am interested in hearing more about... Is this the first time that you've done this?
To my knowledge,
think,
I wasn't aware of doing it this time.
You weren't aware, and yet you stood up and started scribbling.
I have collections of images and information sometimes, rarely, but I believe this is the second time since we've known each other it's happened. The first was when I watched Bupido kill Sarth. And...
You ate Sarth's brain?
No. Pay attention. I'm saying it was the first time I had visions that led to knowledge that wasn't mine. And that knowledge is magic's. I don't know what the visions are. I don't even know if they're mine. This time it seemed like I was the hag. I saw the basilisk, and he like points out the window to like one of the statues, and I saw that, but alive, and then not. And I learned the magic that she used, and it happened with Bupido. I saw more visions, but I don't know. I don't understand it.
Well, you
but it's not me.
understand my concern here is that you don't seem to have control of yourself.
No. I don't. And I understand the concern. I'm not a fan of it either. I can control it sometimes. There's an urge before I black out. I had it on the beach with the Demogorgon, with Grim was his name, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I had it when I was near his body, and I stopped it then. I wasn't strong enough this time, but I am capable of controlling it.
See, Lara, 1 out of 2. That's only half the time.
I would. Can we remove your beak? Can we? What do we do here? This
What?
is like.
How is that your first reaction?
Because he doesn't have full control. If it's 50-50, then the next time it's going to be you. What happens if I get knocked out mid-fight and he wants to eat my brain?
Wow. That sucks. I don't know if I have a brain. Does someone want to check? I don't want it eaten.
I can promise you, if you were the last brain in Faerun, I would not eat you.
Okay, Mr. 50-50. Stool walks out.
This is
She's here, he
shocking
got
to
you.
say.
He got you pretty good.
I don't... Can we... It's not ideal, I know, but there has to be a way that we can help you in those moments. Perhaps through a muzzle?
Can I just say, I didn't picture like a muzzle you'd put on like a potential animal that's just like savage or whatever. I just pictured like the muzzle of a barrel, just like.
Yeah, but like
Can we try putting a shotgun in your face? Will that stop you?
Right.
That's really dark where I went, but that's just Lara
Jesus
just like
Christ.
putting the barrel there, like holy fuck.
Unless you know the exact moment it's going to happen, I don't know how preemptive you could help without hindering my existence in general. I need to be able to speak. Or I don't have my magics. But in the moment, if I appear as though I am not conscious or cognizant, you have permission to do whatever you wish at that point.
This at the end of the day, what this comes down to, and I'm going to be completely open here, it is the value of you being in this party versus the potential downside, which is that you will kill us.
That's understood.
Wait, what? That made sense to you? Guys, that's no way to treat someone who's
It is a matter of survival. If your allies are more of a danger to you than what is around you, you do not consider them allies. If I am more an enemy than a benefit, it is understood. I don't like it. I don't like not being in control. But I am also not going... I do not believe I am a monster. There's something left over. This body that's not mine has impulses. And I don't know where they come from or how to stop having them. Or how frequent they'll be. Like I said, this is the second time, and it's been 2 incredibly stressful situations. I don't know the catalyst, the trigger, the source. I don't know. And if I don't, how can you even begin to?
It seems like the trigger is that you're near something you find appetizing.
We have been around multiple dead bodies. People, ally and foe, have died around us multiple times. And this is only the second time this has happened. I don't know the situation with Grimm. But in this case, I gained knowledge of something that we did not... We didn't know the subtext behind this woman. The past experiences. I did not know her magics, and now somehow I do. Maybe that accounts for something.
Indigo, what do you think?
I think if we're gonna keep surviving down here, then we need to trust each other. We've all seen some very interesting things since we got down there, or down here. And he looks at Sephel, he looks at Mavendel, he looks at Laura's, like, smoke gray sword that she conjured out of thin air. There's a lot going on, but I really think that the way for us to get through it is to get through it together.
You've brought up a good point. She's going to swing the sword to point at Indigo. Sit, Indigo.
Well, that is very rude.
How about you explain what you turned into?
I'm sorry,
What
what?
happened to you? Yes, while you were here snacking. Indigo...
This was a 5-second thing.
Indigo transformed into a quadruped.
A large monstrosity, yes.
It's
And
no
he
size
seemed
and
to-
genus. That's interesting.
Maven Delve shoved him into a cauldron, and when he came out, he was gooey.
Well, alright. That is a very interesting choice of words, but
I'm sorry. Sorry. You fell into one of her cauldrons and you came out a giant monstrosity.
look, I guess yes, that is happened, and I did not pass out in the bowl.
Sephel stands up and kicks the stand that the small cauldron was on, and immediately just starts holding his foot and sits back down.
I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I can do, but remember my super cool mimic friend that you told me definitely not to take with me?
Mm-hmm.
I do recall.
Indigo turns into a mimic jar.
Jesus! I don't know who
it
that
like
is.
Is it like a jar sitting on the bed?
Yeah, all of a sudden, he's just there's a big flash of purple sinew, and then there's just a jar on the bed, and it looks like a totally normal jar, and then all of a sudden it grins and licks its lips, and then all of a sudden it's a normal jar again.
I'm sorry. You pulled a sword on me immediately with the first weird thing I've done, and you weren't even going to first address that apparently this happened?
Well, the difference, Sephel, is that Indigo was trying to save your life while you were eating someone.
I was trying to save us all. The entire time. I didn't turn into a beast intermittently. I was here.
All right. I think I know what is happening here. It is clear that Stool's spores have invaded our minds and have
Kill
started
him.
transforming us into different creatures. We have no idea the effects of this mushroom.
It's time
Indigo-
he dies.
Indigo mimic licks Lara's face.
It's disgusting.
He gives you a wet willy.
And it's got the sticky sap of a mimic too, so it's just it's real nasty.
Oh god. All right, this is overwhelming. Indigo, can you stop this.
Yes, can we make it a pact that you never do that again and Sephel never eats brains again?
Indigo purple swirls his way back into Indigo form. I see your concern, but the only reason I was able to get here in time to, and he points at the dead hag, help out, is because I was moving very, very fast as a warg. If I hadn't been able to do that, I'd just now be arriving.
I actually thought the warg was quite helpful in a combat situation. I meant the jar. Can you not turn into a jar ever again?
But Lara, think of all the mimic pranks I could pull.
No.
Just think,
There's no
you
fun.
think you're picking up your sword and then it's me.
Yes, I can see why that would be totally hysterical.
Absolutely not.
Sephel goes for his feather and then boom! It's stuck to his hand. Oh.
I think we have a lot to worry about here. I don't know. I haven't known you all for that long, and it just seems like there's a lot here.
I mean, yes, there's a lot here. I think that's totally true, Lara, but there's also so much we can do together. We just have to figure out how. And also clean up the dead hag.
It's not my job. Sephel can clean it up. Wash your own dishes.
And I will clean. But to Indigo's point, there has been usefulness from this. I am not excusing the disgusting nature of what happened, but this was a hideous evil creature. She was, for all intents and purposes, already expired. And while it may have been unsettling to observe, this is this is a terrible decision. Lara, can you make a wisdom save?
What the fuck? Oh no.
Oh. 15.
Okay, 15 is my spell DC. So, as he says that, he reaches out to you, like he flips to this new page, reaches out his hand to you, and for a split second, your muscles convulse and pull taut, and you feel like you were about to be entirely unable to move before it fades, and it does not take place.
I would like to make a non-lethal attack against Sephel and attempt to knock him out.
Granted.
That's fair.
I think it's like, she feels that, and then the instinct is, oh, hell no.
That's fair.
Sure.
And that is a 21 to hit.
Holy fuck. Is that
Non-lethal.
that with the fucking sword?
I rolled a 16 plus 6.
Fucking Christ, yeah, okay.
16 is not plus 6, but for 21. But you know what I meant.
No, 16 plus 6 is 22, it's even higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit on him.
Yeah, no, and if your modifier is any more than 2, I'm unconscious.
Okay, he's unconscious.
Cool, yeah, I get knocked out.
I don't know what he just did to me, Indigo.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna tuck Sephel into the bed, as nicely as I can.
Sure.
Just gonna roll him into the rescue position, just in case.
He just attacked me, Indigo. He tried to make me paralyzed.
Oh, I think he was making a point. He probably should have realized that was a bad idea. But why don't we all just take a little time to rest, take some deep breaths, and we can have another talk after we've had a little downtime and some time to clear our thoughts.
Fine, I'll keep watch. You keep an eye on Sephel. And I'll head out and leave the building and go keep watch. Outside.
Okay.
As you leave, Lara, I'm gonna lean down to Sephel and give him a quick cure wounds to take him back to consciousness. Hey, go ahead and just stay in this room for a while. Lara's in a state right now, so it'd be really best if you were just having some quiet time.
How many hit points do I go back up to?
Let's see.
Oh, fuck's sake.
You
It's
get
not
7.
death save. Thank you.
I have to imagine with the amount of spell slots you have expended, Sephel, and the sheer amount of times that you've come in and out of consciousness, that you have to be freaking exhausted.
Oh no, he's
at
wiped.
this point.
No, he's wiped, and part of his irritation is also that he has been in a state of fatigue this entire time.
Yeah.
But yeah, as he comes back to consciousness, was a bad idea. I acknowledge. Trying to prove the point. These strange happenings have been beneficial. I'm going to sleep. I don't even do that, but I'm going to sleep. We have some things to figure out.
Hey, Will.
Yeah.
Question for you.
What's up?
When I reduced Sephel to 0 hit points,
Mm-hmm.
what happened?
Yeah,
was it visual? That's what I want to know.
You're talking about your blessing?
Yes. Did I get a blessing? Was it visual? Did I feel it?
You felt it. You felt like this odd thrill and shiver go up your spine, and you feel man, I'm not trying to plagiarize here, but it's such a good example not to use. You feel this thrill, and Brandon Sanderson does a really good job of almost personifying this in some of his books, and it's this overwhelming energy that overcomes you when you're in a fight, and how incredible is all these things that you're doing, and it's almost like this little smidgen of this feeling creeps through you of this satisfaction of hell yeah, I made my fucking point, you're down, I'm still here, I'm stronger, and for that you feel stronger. It's it's almost like an adrenaline rush, essentially, of this power that kind of comes through you. Yeah.
And I guess for everyone else, mechanically, I just got 8 temporary hit points.
Very nice.
That's what I felt like.
Go ahead and Sam, just so I can keep track of everybody on the map, wherever you decide to go outside,
Sure.
just go ahead and move your token. Indigo, after you very briefly have this kind of aside with Sephel, where do you head?
Despite the cleaning plans that were just made, I'm gonna grab Maven Dell's body and just pull it outside, and maybe just take it around the side of the house, over by some just convenient located dragon spine. Just find a place to tuck it away.
Sure. You take a little bit of time and you toss her amongst the odd grass that grows amongst the spines of this dragon skeleton, and her body is somewhat hidden between the shadows there that you can kind of make out through your dark vision, and the little bit of candlelight that seems to come through some of these windows. And since you're over there, I can actually reveal a little bit more of the map, so you can kind of see the end of it there. Okay. Do you go back inside after kind of tucking her body away, or?
I think I actually spent a little time out here. I'm gonna like tuck her in there. I will say a brief prayer over her tutorial.
Mhm.
And then I'm gonna pull out my sketchbook. Or so I guess my book. And I'm gonna do a sketch of Sephel and Lara. Like when they were talking, like kind of having him sitting on the bed, Stool in the background, them like kind of both arguing but also coming to terms a little bit. And I also want to do a sketch of Maven Dell, both her in her like beautiful masked form and then her like nasty haggy form.
Okay. Is this just like an in-depth kind of character question here? Because I'm sure some of our listeners are curious. Is this both a therapeutic tool for Indigo as well as a like scholarly pursuit? Like what goes through Indigo's minds and his reasons for continuing to sketch, considering all the things that have happened here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not of any like scholarly value to have these little scenes, but it's how he processes his academic work. You know, by drawing them out, he can see better how the anatomy, how the physiology functions, and in the same way, he's trying to like better understand what just happened by pulling these little pinpricks, these little scenes of what transpired.
Nice. Cool. Okay. So Indigo's spending some time doing that. Stool has kind of wandered over to the large fireplace and is kind of on their own. You don't see any spores. Any of you that have left the house don't see any of his spores kind of spouting out and how he communicates to you all. Lara, as you had exited the house, you saw that Lady Laboda had gone down to the kind of shores near your boat and was kind of just kneeling upon the ground, seeming very pensive and worn out. And as you've kind of made your way to the western part of the isle, you eventually, after a minute or two, hear the soft pads of footfalls as she approaches you. And she stands about 15 feet away, and she goes, Lara, I very much appreciate your rescue of me. And while I'm sure that there is, she keeps like looking down and back up. While I'm sure there is very much good and great intentions in the three of you, I see that there are many, I don't want to say secrets, but there's quite a bit of
secrets.
All right, secrets. And depths to you all that have seemingly come forth in quite a fashion, and I, knowing my own past and what I might find myself delving towards, think perhaps it's best for me to go my own way. I have seen many horrors committed on the battlefield, and soldiers and warriors and all sorts. I think you know if this will do anything to survive. I myself am no unmarked or saint of any kind. But that was some true acts of barbarity, and I have put such things behind myself, or I strive to, acting only out of true necessity. And if this is the road that you all travel, I very much feel it is for my own safety and journey that I go alone now.
You're referring, of course, to the final ending for Maven Delph.
Yes, and the creature that your hobgoblin friend found themselves to be somehow. I've seen many wargs before, but not something of that kind. And she looks truly disturbed, and from what you've been able to glean of Laboda as well, and from her scars and her visual appearance, like, this woman has clearly seen a lot, but these are just have truly shaken her. And she goes,
You're a warrior. A warrior for good is what I used to fight alongside those like you. I think I can see in you a desire to see what is right and true in this world, and what you saw in there you don't believe aligns. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, that is precisely so. The path I find myself on now, I try to ascribe to a path of good. It was not always so. And I refuse to fall back into what I once was.
How long has it been for you on your path?
It has been 25 years since I last carried the mantle that was put upon me in open war, and have tried to ascribe to peace. It's part of why I find myself on this hunt now for my former armor and weaponry. I believe, and those that have stolen it, I in turn think that my previous warrior spirit still resides in it. And whether it's true or not, I think it's best it return with me. For if it does hold that monster that I was, I would not see it used upon any other life.
Is the armor here?
I thought it was, and perhaps for a time a piece of it was. I shall do a quick search once again, but I do not feel its presence as such. I spent a good 23 years of my life in and out of it, and I have felt a deep bond with it ever since.
Are you from the surface?
Yes.
Are you returning?
Once I have collected my armor, I will find a way to the surface if I can, or die trying to destroy it. My armor, that is.
When you were on the surface, did you know of the winged armies? Had you heard of them?
I feel somewhat familiar. How long ago was this?
This would have been 30 years ago that I was a part of that air cavalry.
And, of what lands was this a part of?
Corin.
Yes, that brings back many details. No, I'm very well aware of Corin. I did not face any of your company or armies. I come from a kingdom far to the southeast, and I had faced small roving companies from the fallen Koran Empire encroaching upon my lands. I think I instilled enough fear after so many years that many did not come, and now it is my children and grandchildren's fight to keep peace.
I believe it. I saw you fighting in there. It was impressive.
For a rusty mechanical arm and weary bones, I suppose it was not bad.
It was the opposite of bad.
Thank you.
It seems as though we have a common goal in that you don't know where your armor is, but do you know your way around? Because it seems as though perhaps, not that you couldn't handle yourself on your own, but I think it's clear that you could use assistance if it was offered and if you trusted it.
I've only made my way about here in the underdark through the tugs I feel from its pieces. I have not found any for certain means of navigation, but I did notice something that perhaps you did not when you first came here.
Do tell.
Follow me. And she kind of
Brilliant.
leads you back up to the north side of the isle, to kind of like the rocky coast past the shack that you had freed her from. And she points out into the darkness to what would be the north of our map, into the darkness in the waters. And she goes, "You may be able to see it, and I have only slightly heard it. Listen." And as you listen closely, make a perception check for me.
Okay. 17.
Okay. You hear this extremely faint but still unmistakable sound of what sounds like metal on metal. Like ting, 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 ting.
In the water?
Not in the water. It sounds like it's far, far away across the water. And as you start to pick up the sound and kind of pinpoint where it might be coming from, you see ever so slightly in the gloom what looks like a faint, glowing red and orange light. You know when, like, if you've ever been out on, like, a camping trip or something like that, and you're on a mountainside and you look out and it's close to evening, you can see the lights of a house, like, far across on another mountainside or something like that. How small that looks, it's essentially that. You see a pinprick of light far in the distance across the water, and you know that that's where these sounds are coming from. It sounds like a hammer on metal. And Loboda goes, "I'm not sure what that place is, and I do not feel the draw of my armor there, but no doubt it rings of civilization, no?"
That it does. Considering we have no other direction, this might be our next stop.
And I hope it is, but I think my path... And she kind of looks out to the west. She goes, "I feel something faint pulling me that way, and I think I should best pursue it, while the rest of you find your own way and sort through your secrets, and perhaps if any gods find it fitting, we'll find each other again."
I hope they do. I wasn't going to say this, but the path that you have found yourself on for these last 25 years is the path that I currently find myself. So it would be good to have some companionship with similar experiences in the future.
She kind of steps up closer to you. She's like facing you face to face, and she how tall is Lara again? Like 5 foot something, right? Or is she
5'9".
taller?
5'9".
5'9". So Laboda's looking down at you, Lara, and she like raises one of her ceramic mechanical fingers, and she kind of like points it towards your chest, and she goes, "The hardest part is wrangling the beast, the devil, or the demon." And like with that last word, you really kind of feel this weight in your chest inside of you. Accepting it and knowing that it will probably always be within you. I think it is something that all us warriors carry. But knowing that it does not have to control you. Each path is our own, though. How we find ourselves to that same peaceful end. And I hope you find it, Lara.
Thank you. I think you've helped more than you could ever know. And I hope our paths cross again.
I'm glad to hear it. Now I will take a quick search about the house before taking my leave. I believe I still have a small boat, if I am lucky, on the other side of the isle. And she kind of leaves you on the coast there before quickly going inside. And Sephel, you kind of hear footsteps and the creaking of chairs and different things like that before you hear these large footsteps exit. And Laboda makes their way. Indigo, you probably see them start to cross across the island. Do you say anything to Laboda? She doesn't seem to notice you where you currently are.
Instead of interrupting her, because I feel like she's kind of like it looks like that she's on a mission, right? Like that she's going towards an end.
Yeah. You see that she's walking with purpose.
Then instead of stopping her, I'll just take the opportunity to sketch her with that look of determination and of something we all kind of need of knowing where she wants to be and want to go. Right? Just preserve that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So she kind of makes her way. You see her disappear between some rocks, and then eventually you hear what sounds like the splashing of oars, and those sounds eventually disappear. What are you guys doing now? Do you guys spend time, Lara, you kind of keeping this lookout and patrol, and Sephel kind of sitting within the bed, kind of perusing these magical items and the thing that happened? What's going through all of you guys now?
I do want to look at those magic items, but a lot has been going through Sephel's head in the however long this has been, and against Indigo's judgment, or against Indigo's advice, Sephel would like to go find Lara.
Okay.
And he does that when he's like, if I feel like after that conversation she'd sort of be doing some self-searching of her own, or maybe her mind is elsewhere. So
For sure.
when he gets close by, he would say, I'm approaching. I don't have anything. I left my things inside.
She swings around and cuts off your head.
Well, that's exactly why. I understand that We all need to process a lot of things. And I have multiple things, multiple failings of late that, against my ego, I owe apologies for. And they will not be the last in our time down here, if history is any indicator. I will, however, say this one thing, and then I will leave you to your peace and me to mine. I go back and forth with you. I don't remember a lot of people, and that's something that I'll get into eventually, but the people that I do remember have types. They're predictable. They have mannerisms and reactions, and they have patterns. And yours has changed so frequently, I find it hard to know how to interact with you. And I understand my situation is off-putting more than others. In that, I sympathize. I will never be your ally if you are waiting for me to be your enemy. I cannot prove anything to you if you have made your decision for me. I don't like these developments any more than you do. But if the aid that I have been is taken for granted, and my many mistakes only serve to confirm your bias, I cannot do anything about that. And you will never trust me.
I think she's sitting on this like ledge, like looking out into the water, like where that pinprick of light was. And when Sephel comes up, she's just kind of like, she doesn't like summon her blade or anything, but she keeps sitting there. And when you finish, you know, she's been quiet the whole time. I think she turns and she looks at you, Sephel. So you're asking me to trust you again, to give that chance.
I'm asking you to trust me once, because I do not believe you yet have. I don't pretend to know your history. It is dark as any of ours, and obviously very different from my own. But nothing down here has been normal or sane or safe, and the only constant we've had are the people that have survived, which so far has been us. And I don't know what I don't know shit about you, or Indigo, who now turns into war beasts and mimics,
He's incredibly furry.
or Stool, who is a psychedelic liability. I don't know anything about any of us. But we have kept each other alive. And I would like that to count for something.
Well, you're right. I have not trusted And as a result, there was no path for you to go up. So she's going to pat the ground next to her.
Like, gosh. Your blade's not out.
No, it's not that.
Okay.
It's not that.
He like flinches like you're gonna draw it, and then he like does that thing where he like wraps his robe to his legs and like crosses his legs on the ground.
As you sit down, she summons it and slices through your chest.
Oh, fuck. I'll bring my new character next week.
Okay, good.
She looks at you and says, Sephel, we're all wrangling the beast, demon, or devil inside of us.
You could not have thought of that yourself. That's far too poetic for your disposition.
It's completely ridiculous. All I'm saying is I will trust you, and I won't lie and say that I'm not worried for myself and even for Indigo, but not Stool. Fuck Stool.
I would think less of you if you weren't.
Well, don't cast any more spells on me.
That's fair. That was dumb. I did learn one though. Is what I was trying to demonstrate. Right. The hag had a pattern of immobilizing her prey before calling her pet to petrify them. And it seems my unsightly interaction with her memories granted me the knowledge of that spell.
So you can get power in that way.
It does appear so.
You like it?
I like knowledge, which is something incredibly lacking down here. I have not been able to find many sources of arcana, or it's sparse at best. Materials, knowledge, civilization.
I have knowledge for you. And she's going to point out across to that thin pinprick of light. Do you hear it?
And it takes you a moment, Sephel, but you eventually manage to see it.
Oh. And this is... I know this is the north on our map. We don't really have an idea of the
You don't know
cardinal
what the
direction
actual
we're at.
bearing is, yeah.
Okay. So he wouldn't even be able to judge, like, what direction. It could be right back to Sloopadoop.
Yeah, right. Fucking could be, too. It's the town burning.
Yeah. It's the eye of the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Well, that is a direction away from this.
That it is. What do you think about Indigo?
You're calling to him all the way across the island?
No. I'm asking Sephel. What do you think about Indigo?
Oh,
Sorry, I just said it like I was yelling it.
he is about Indigo in general, or this transformation I've yet to see?
The transformation, and also the fact that each time he loses himself, he becomes violent.
I mean, I will say there is a similar bias in him that you have, where it does seem I become the target of his aggressions fairly often.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't gone unnoticed. But he does attract a menagerie of strangeness.
Yes.
He's useful. And if this account of the benefits of him turning into this beast are to be believed, I can't say it's any stranger or more dangerous than either of us have in our arsenals. I just don't understand how he has remained so naive.
I think he's simple. You didn't know anyone like that where you're from?
Oh, you call it simple. Oh, that's nice. No,
There were similar adults who acted like children. Harmless, oftentimes incredibly intelligent, but naive at times.
I'll say it has seemed to protect him in a frustratingly effective way. He can keep light and oftentimes objective. Which is strange for someone with his disposition. But
An interesting strategy to contemplate for sure. I don't know that I could ever pull it off.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're a beacon of light and joy.
She shoves him, but it's a little too hard.
He just falls over in the muck
Bruises
and
like a
just lays
banana.
there.
Well, perhaps we should see if he's willing to show you his warg form. Perhaps you can learn something from it.
That's an interesting thought. Have you contemplated that I might have to eat his brain to learn it?
I'm trying not to.
I think we all need time to process our beasts. But I simply... Wherever we go from this island, we cannot be divided. We will not survive anything more than this. It's honestly a surprise we've survived this long. So, I need to take time. There were some items I need to look over. Maybe that will clear my head, but...
Yes, and I need to take stock of the island and what we can get from here.
Smart. Food. Resources.
As you say that, Sephel, food, Lara, you actually feel this huge hunger pain just come across you. And it hits you that you don't know how long it's been since you've eaten. And because of the adrenaline rush of everything that has happened here within the last hour, that as your body finally starts to truly relax, that you're oh shit, I really do need to eat and drink. And Indigo, those same feelings start to come over you. Sephel, you're yeah, I got a belly full of brains. I'm good to go.
Yeah, what's that like? Hunger? Never heard of her. Yeah, no.
Right.
He is just going to stand up. Yeah, he's going to awkwardly look at her like he's going to say something and then regain whatever bit of ego that he can from just the pure shame of the last day. And he is just going to nod like two white dudes nod at each other when they pass.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
he is going to walk back to the shack to check out those items.
Okay. Yeah. Lara, where do you go now with this break? Do you go back to the house? You said you're kind of checking out the aisle. What are you doing?
Yeah, so while she's been out here, I did want to look for Ashni while I was out here.
Sure. I'll let you roll perception or investigation while I find out from Andrew what is up with Indigo now.
I think once Indigo feels hungry, he's gonna go looking through the house, specifically over into the kitchen, to see if there's any actual food there. and when he finds all the disgusting gore from the hag's blood suppers, he's just gonna open the window and starts like chucking things out to try to make like a reasonable space there.
Okay, sure. Sam, what'd you get for your investigation or perception?
13 plus 2, 15.
Okay. How much time do you spend doing this?
So when she got out, like, basically, before Lady Laboda got to her, before Sephel got to her, that's what she was doing, is she was keeping an eye out for Ashni. And then I think she would stick around for maybe, like, 30 minutes to an hour, and then wait for Indigo to stop chucking things out the window, and then she'd go in.
Okay. All right. You spend a while doing this, and you look out through the waters, you look about the isle, and after a while you find no signs of Ashni. And what does that bring up in Lara, that lost connection, that once profound and now lost connection?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she was I think that Ashni is like that last little bit of hope that she has, that she could feel the same way that she did toward like redemption, and every time that she doesn't find Ashni, she gets a little more committed to her new path. So it's like disappointment, but also resolve.
Okay. Yeah, those things go through your mind, and eventually you finally hear the last clattering of bones as Indigo has finally cleaned out the kitchen of all of the horrible bones and flesh. And all the while, Indigo, you did feel this odd sensation within you of like this almost more growing constant hunger as you're throwing this away, and it's like, ooh, man, I wish there's some more meat. That'd be real nice right about now, but eventually you do clean it out.
Man, hunger makes me think the weirdest things. That's crazy.
Okay. And then you're going to search the kitchen, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if there's any humanoid, non-cannibal food around.
I'll help on that roll if I'm there.
Sure. Yeah. Let's do a joint investigation check then. Sephel, what are you doing for these items while they're doing these rolls?
So it would take him a bit because he's going to cast Identify on the items that he found. I believe there were 4 of them of three rather of magical
3 items.
nature.
Yes.
So it was the vial with the blue liquid, the dark leather satchel, and the horseshoe that were all given off magic.
Yes.
So it's going to take him a half hour to cast Identify on all 3 because he is going to have to do it as a ritual, as he has no more spell slots.
Okay. All right. Andrew, tell me what you got.
13.
Okay. You spend a decent amount of time kind of pouring through all the different cabinets and even pulling in through like the ovens and stuff like that. And you're not really finding much of anything. However, though, because of your keen perception and investigation here, you realize that there is no kind of like cold storage here. And like all this meat, granted it appeared to be humanoid bones and stuff like that, you would think that you would imagine there would be some kind of storage for it. And as you kind of search about, your toe stubs on the corner of something, and you see that there is a rug kind of shortly beneath the table that you have somehow caught your foot on.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's gonna kind of pull that rug aside, see what's underneath.
Okay. You pull up the corner flap of it, and you see what looks like a slightly larger gap between some of the boards there.
All right, I'll peel those back, see what's hiding in the
Okay.
crawl space.
You have to kind of push the table to the side a little bit, and you start to pull up more of the carpet, and you realize that there is a trap door that was hiding beneath that carpet and the table.
Well done, Indigo.
Wow, thanks, Lara. I'm gonna open this up. Because of our previous door-based experience here, you might want to take a couple steps back, just on the, off chance there's another explosion.
Thank you, I will. Please, open it.
So encouraging. Yeah, I'll go ahead and open that up.
It is locked, so you're gonna have to try to pick it if you want to get in.
Oh, all right, and then I will pull up my little thieves toolkit, and I will give it a try.
We're going to jump back over to Sephel while you're doing that roll. So we will go ahead and do one item for you while they're doing that, Sephel. Which item are you most desperate to know about first?
I'm honestly super intrigued with that horseshoe. The liquid is probably a potion of some kind. The satchel, I have a couple ideas for it. The horseshoe is really intriguing to me.
Okay. As you complete this ritual, it comes to you that these are called the horseshoes of a zephyr. And you know that this is a very rare, wondrous item. And I will go ahead and tell you the description here. These iron horseshoes come in a set of 4, and as you kind of like cast the identify, you see they kind of like slide apart as they appear to be one. While all 4 shoes are affixed to the hooves of a horse or similar creature, they allow the creature to move normally while floating 4 inches above the ground. This effect means the creature can cross or stand above non-solid or unstable surfaces such as water or lava. The creature leaves no tracks and ignores difficult terrain. In addition, the creature can move at a normal speed for up to 12 hours a day without suffering exhaustion from a forced march. A pretty good item if you had a horse or similar creature.
I mean, we might have a warg.
Yeah, right.
Good luck putting those horseshoes on it.
It said a similar creature. Don't have to have hooves, just has to take a nail in the foot.
Yep, a couple of nails in the foot, yep.
I'm sure that'll go fine.
I pictured, just small aside, I pictured doing that, and then when Indigo comes out of it, just his hands and feet, he has like fucking horseshoes just like nailed through
Nailed to his palms.
What have you done?
I'll never cast again.
Jumping back. Indigo, what'd you get for your thieves tool?
16.
16. Clink. The small latch and lock come undone, and you find yourself able to now open this trapdoor.
All right, I'll ease it open, see what's inside.
Okay. You pick up this door, and you see that there is a short ladder that goes down into what smells like a very musty and dank cellar. And you can feel the cold air kind of rushing upwards.
Well, looks like she had a root cellar here. If you hear any screaming, come down after me. And he's gonna pop on down.
Okay. You climb down the ladder, and as you do, you realize you're in like a half-standing basement, half-crawl space. You see the natural stones kind of underneath. And this area isn't particularly big. There's sand beneath your feet, and you can hear it kind of shifting and feel it shifting beneath your feet as you kind of go forward. And from the darkness, you see that there appears to be some kind of large, or I shouldn't say large, medium-sized bundle in a far corner.
Well, I'm... Okay. Indigo's gonna hesitantly walk on over and give it a look.
Okay. We're gonna jump back to Lara. Lara, you feel a presence, a now familiar presence of your patron kind of there with you. And you kind of hear this whisper in your ear of, Lara, dear, I think it's best if you were to perhaps make your way back over to the now broken cauldron. There's something there for us to discuss.
As you deem, I shall do. And she will back up out of the doorway and kind of walk over to the cauldron in the other room.
No. The one with the large ring about it, where your friend was transformed.
Alright.
As interesting as your tentacled friend is, I think it best we speak alone.
Sephel, I'm heading out. I'm gonna keep watch. I'll be back.
Don't forget the milk on your way back.
Shut the fuck up. She's on that. Yeah.
Be back before sundown. There's all kinds of monsters.
The worst ones are inside.
It's true.
I can totally picture
Indigo's
this.
in the basement.
Well, there's no
What
worry. I'm sure that my
basement? Why
friend
am I not
Laura's
told things?
taking a good care of me, and there's no reason for me to be afraid down here because I have backup just up the place.
There's nothing but trust in this group.
Nothing.
Absolutely.
While Stool sits by a very small dwindling fire just by themselves. Lara heads off towards the stone circle. Okay. Stone circle / altar. Sephel, item number 2.
Okay.
Which one do you want it to be?
Let's do the satchel.
Okay. This is a black, leatherish, beaten bag of holding.
Yes.
It has clearly seen better days. It almost looks ancient, and you cannot necessarily identify the type of leathery hide that it came from or it is made of, but you definitely know that this is that very coveted item by all adventurers and at parties.
That's alright. You don't need to tell me it's people skin. We can already infer. Back to you, Lara.
Okay, if that's what you want. We're actually going to jump back to Indigo. Indigo, as...
Fuck you, Lara.
You aren't the DM, you don't dictate these flash forwards. Indigo, as you get closer to this bundle, you see that it appears to be a humanoid figure clad in rags and like ties of various types of cloth that cover almost all parts of itself, and it is kind of curled up in a semi-fetal position against the far wall there. You don't see it move or anything at your approach.
We're in time to save you, buddy. Oh well. And I'll lay back some of the cloth so I can get a look at their face.
You start kind of, and I want you to picture semi mummy wrappings, but not that necessarily tightly bound or that consistent. It's more of patchwork have been put over to cover whatever this body is. And as you start kind of pulling away in the dark, it's very hard to distinguish exactly what this material is. But as you start to kind of reveal more of the face, as you can only really see it in black and grays with your dark vision right now, it almost appears crystalline-like. And as you start to see what looks like a nose and a little bit of cheekbone, a hand, one of its hands very quickly comes up and grabs yours. And you feel the shifting underneath the rags about its mouth go, "Please don't. Please don't."
Oh, hello there. You are still alive. How about that?
Yes. Yes. Is she gone?
Oh, yeah, no, the bad lady mask, nasty pet.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we took care of that. Would you like to not be in this basement right now?
Please. Please. And you can see they're very weakly trying to move, but as they are also trying to like sort themselves, they're quickly like covering their face back up again from the rags that you kind of slowly had undone.
Oh yeah, I'll like put an arm underneath their armpit and kind of like help them to their feet.
Okay. And they kind of very slowly accept your aid, but in their weakened state, it seems like they're happy to have someone there. And I'm assuming you're heading back towards the stairs to go back up.
Yep. Lara, there's a person down here. Could use some help.
A moment later, you hear like as these little knobby legs appear, and then you see Stool bending over and a puff of spores, and then like, oh my god, it's a thing! It's a thing that looks kind of like your shape! What is it? Who is it, who? Or what?
I think it's what's your name, buddy?
It's Pain. Pain.
Oh shit, that's hardcore. Hey, so this guy's name is Pain.
Hi, what? Hello, Pain. I'm Stool. And this figure kind of looks up and is like, just nods as they kind of grasp for the ladder / stairs, and they start weakly crawling their way up. This figure, you think Indigo probably stands around 5 feet tall and appears, while thin, they're quite wiry, and as you were carrying them, they felt hard, like weirdly tough underneath all that cloth and wrappings. And we're going to quickly jump back over to Sephel. Last item,
Okay.
you find out, is a potion of animal friendship.
Oh.
How very fitting for this party.
Yeah, you can just throw that one out.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's super useful.
We have Indigo. That's a permanent potion of animal friendship.
Yeah, right.
And then quickly going back to Indigo, Sephel, you can hear kind of the kerfuffle and voices coming from the kitchen area.
Mm-hmm.
This figure finally kind of collapses out onto the floor between Stool and Indigo. I'm assuming you come up kind of quickly after them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now that you're in the light, you can see that all these rags and fabrics are of like different drab kind of colors, and they just kind of back themselves up to the wall, sitting down, and they kind of draw up their knees, and they're kind of shading with their arm, kind of like their eyes, like they just haven't seen light in so long. They go, "I'm sorry, I need a minute to adjust."
Hey, take the time you need, friend.
And as they're kind of like rubbing their eye, one of the wrappings kind of undoes around the finger. And the color that appears underneath this wrapping as it comes undone is very surprising to you. It's of this kind of deep, translucent, reddish color. Think, and you can Google this. I think it's called a panonite stone. It's a type of gemstone. It's almost like a ruby, but has a deeper kind of color to it. And as they feel that come undone, they quickly like wrap it back up again. And it had this brilliant shine to it. And they kind of, you can't really make out of their eyes because of this cloth that is covering them. But they seem to be looking back up at you, and they go, "I'm so sorry for my rudeness. What is your name? And thank you."
Oh, hey, no worry, buddy. My name is Indigo.
It is a pleasure, Indigo. Do you happen to have any water?
Ooh, I will. Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. I'm like, I feel around the pack and pull out like a flask of water.
Thank you so much. And they kind of pull some of the rags aside and take a swig, and they hand it back to you, and their voice surprisingly doesn't change too much, but they go, "Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it."
Happy to help.
And now, jumping back over to Lara. Lara, you have now appeared in front of the altar, and kind of standing in front of this large stone arch, you see the shadowy form of Grazit, or Gratz, appear there. The only kind of truly distinguishing feature is these white eyes appearing from the shadows as they turn to you and look down upon you, and they say, "Very well done, Lara. I'm very impressed." Are you impressed with yourself?
I would say that I am, although I have a strong team, it seems.
They are a very interesting sort, no doubt. But you have the fine makings of a leader about you. More so than you did in that precious army. You have completed the first step into your rebirth, Lara. And I always keep my promises. But I'm curious. You spoke of your family. What was your mother and father's names?
My mother, Soria, my father, Tanner. Is that... I've not thought of them in some time.
Soria. What a very interesting and unique name. Well, Lara, I will not refuse what I offered. And if we continue to work together, there will be many more gifts such as this. And you feel your skeletal wings pull from your back, just appearing, bursting outward. And while it's painful, it feels good to unfurl them. And then you watch as new muscle and sinew just glide forth over the bones, and new feathers start to appear and grow outward until finally two very large black feathered wings appear on your back. And they feel strong. They feel good. And I imagine it's a both familiar and wonderful weight to them for you.
Yeah, I don't think that Lara ever smiles, but she is smiling right now.
And you see a return smile upon Grazid's face as they see this kind of joy in you. They are well deserved. I shall call upon you again, but... And they kind of wave you closer to them as they kind of stand upon the altar, and they look out through the arch to the north of our map here, and they raise a hand and point into the distance where you see that faint glow again. There I have another pawn in place. I think it best if you find yourselves with your companions making your way there. It's called Gracklestug.
That aligns nicely, my liege. And she's going to kneel, conjure her blade, and basically like hold it and like bow over his blade. And then she'll kind of look up at him. I was planning on going there anyway. I will do it in your name.
And a little bit more of them seems to kind of appear in the shadow, and make an insight check for me.
Interesting. Let's see. Oh, well, I was rolling pretty good today, so this tracks. 3.
Okay. You can't quite necessarily make out what is playing across their face, but they say, no, no, no. Rise, Aquilara. This is your moment of triumph, and it will continue to be. Stand in your own name.
Yeah, she gets this like smug look on her face, and then she smiles, and she like holds the sword powerfully, and then she kind of like looks up at Grazit with this like, oh hell yeah, kind of like feeling.
He nods at you, and you just faintly hear the words, good, good, as this shadowy form of them disappears. And very quickly, I imagine Sephel would probably, after doing all these spells, make their way into the kitchen to kind of like hear these voices, but I don't know, you tell me.
Nah, fuck that.
Fuck that? Okay, cool.
No,
Just
honestly,
checking.
So he was, I mean, he has to be pretty zoned in to do the identify spell, and honestly, being with no spell slots and barely any hit points, and then casting 3 ritual spells right in a row was probably the rest of the energy he had. He is actually going to decide to let them handle their own shit.
Okay.
And he is going to... He is actually going to enter his trance state. He's going to begin the process of resting. And so he is actually, for all intents and purposes, he's zoned out. He is absent.
Good to know. So jumping back to you straight away then, Indigo. You, Stool, and this new figure, this figure kind of wobbly starts to rise and get to their feet, and they go, I need to find my armor. Have you seen it?
No. What did it look like?
Yeah, nothing special, just bits and pieces of various kinds, just a patchwork, really, or my sword or shield. Have you seen it?
I haven't. Hey, Stool, have you seen anything like that around?
No, I haven't really been looking, but maybe it's in the bedroom where like all that other cool stuff that Sephel found. Maybe it's in there. I don't know.
Oh, great idea, Stool. Yeah. Well, let's want to take a look, Payne? We'll see if it's. Oh. Yeah. All right. I don't know if Spell's asleep. Let's go.
All right. And they follow you into the bedroom where there's kind of a couple more cupboards and bookshelves and different things like that. And you see that Sephel has drifted off into his familiar meditative state. And as Payne enters the room, he looks over and kind of like jumps back against the wall, and you see, like, you kind of hear like the unwrappings of a couple things, and you hear them go, What are you doing with a mind flayer?
Oh, that's Sephel. It's fine.
You're friends with it?
Oh yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's very smart, and sometimes he's very rude, but usually he's very useful, and he knows lots of nice things.
And as you like look back and you say these things to Payne, you see that part of their face wrappings have come undone, and you now see that their face consists of this same stone-like formation. And that's when it occurs to you that Payne is an Earth Ganassi. And that's where we'll leave it tonight.
Hey, you, loyal listener, you've made it this far to the post show notes, and that means the absolute world to us. Thank you so much for being here. If you have one more second, we would adore you if you could leave a rating and a review in whatever podcatcher you're currently listening in. The ratings and reviews are astronomical when it comes to growing the show because it's what gets us noticed for new listeners. So if you have just a moment to do that, please do. And we also have a Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you want to give us a follow. It's at The Madness Table. And if you've noticed, we are now posting weekly episodes because of supporters like you. So if we haven't said it enough, thank you. And we will see you in just 7 short days for our next episode when...